So Richard, we're uplands behind us. Almost 40 years ago you Chris travelled from here and headed up towards Aintree.
Yeah, you like raking up bad memories. No, it wasn't. It was a good memory, Joe. Sorry, a good memory. But you're right. The journey to Liverpool for the Grand National obviously started here. Horses went up the day before. We'd have been up there for 3 days because it's a 3-day meeting. But this is a special little part of Berkshire, you know, all this rolling downland. It was no good for agriculture for years, only just a sheep run. And that's why horses were trained on it. And this village is just so full of history, many Grand Nationals. But that year, crisp, 40 years ago, he was the Australian champion. They had put on 15 stone on his back to try and equalise him with other horses. And the owner thought that wasn't fair on the horse. So he sent him here. We won the 2-mile champion chase with him absolutely easily. He won loads of races, breaking course records, which he still holds. He was just an amazing horse. And so when we set out for Liverpool and he was giving almost 2 stone away to the next horse in the handicap, Red Rum, it was a daunting task. And a lot of people will say I was brainless by making the running on a horse carrying top weight. But we had discussed it quite at length. And the point being, he was such an exuberant jumper that if you tried to settle him, he would jump on something else's back, because at Aintree, a lot of horses put the brakes on at fences. But he wouldn't. You know, he would jump a horse and a fence. So therefore we decided the only thing to do was to make the running and try and steady the race down from the front. So we would ride a waiting race in front of 39 others. That was the theory. Practice, it didn't work. Because he was an amazingly different horse, every time he landed over one, before his legs had touched the ground, oh, there's another fence, yeah! You know, which is so odd. I mean, most horses would be slightly wary of Grand National fences because they're upright, they're big, and they're green, as opposed to normal fences. And so we decided to make the running and slow it down. It just didn't work. Every time he saw one, he wanted to jump another one. But he never ran away with me. I was always there, but there were so many fences coming at you. Yeah. And his other attributes were, because he wanted to jump, he would quicken of his own volition going in, very quick over them, and be galloping before he landed.
Even at beaches?
Yeah, oh, he flew beaches. It felt no drop to me, no drop at all, because he flew it, stood off so far, got as far, both times. He was just different. So it was his quickness at the obstacles and his inbuilt want to do it. You know, that he was just a natural. And so to go so far clear, going out into the second circuit, you jump the water and you think, well, I've survived one circuit, I've just got to do it all over again now. We'll start playing jockeys. And I kept saying, reserve a bit, ooh, you know, and he jumped fence after fence. But as you go down into the country for the second time, on your own, no noise, because Joe, 40 horses in a race, is a lot of noise. You know, as they hit a fence, they exhale air, you know, big lungs, jockeys shouting. There's a lot of noise in a race, and who's galloping? And that year the ground was far, so drum drum all the time from a lot of horses. To go out to the second circuit on your own with no noise, it was odd. And then as you turned to go down after the start, big hole in the fence where someone had battered it first time. And you know from experience, you don't aim for a hole. Okay, the fence may be lower, but horses take chances at holes in fences. Go and jump where the brave men jump, down the inside. And then you'd see jockeys by fence 2 and 3 standing there, leaning on the rails, having fallen on the first circuit, but wanting to see the action, you know, didn't want to go back to the waiting room, wanted to see that. And they're there cheering you on. One chap I remember was just holding a bridle, you know, no horse, just got a bridle. Obviously what he'd done, the horse had made a mistake. He'd gone up its neck and taken the bridle off with him. You know, the horse has cleared off. Oh, I've got a bridle. And those sort of things. And when we went down to Beecher's Brook for the second time, I could distinctly, and still do now, hear the late Michael O'Hare's commentary, because he was doing it for the course, and there were loudspeakers all around the course. And I could distinctly hear it in my mind now. And he was saying, "And Crisp says 25 lengths clear for Red Rum coming out of the pack, but Fletcher's kicking Red Rum." And I thought, that'll do me, you know, keep hold, stamina is the doubt, keep hold. David Nicholson was on his horse, I think it was Barsnet, I can't remember now, which had fallen, and he was after Beecher's Brook before the canal turn. The horse was grazing, he's sitting on it, loose rein, like an Indian. He was a bit pompous, really. And he said, "Pitman, you're 33.5 lengths clear, kick on and you'll win." And I thought, no, David, you're wrong. Kicking on is the wrong thing. I got to save the petrol. But when you jump canal turn for the second time, and I jumped it brilliantly both times because I was on my own, plenty of manoeuvrability room. When I jumped it the second time, you look up at the stands, it's a long way from home, Joe. You know, a lot of people get excited at the canal turn. A long way to go. It's a mile, I'd say. 3/4, if not a mile. Long way. And I kept saying save, and he jumped like a stag. And I was very aware of the camera car beside me, and stupidly I thought, well, I'll get some good pictures here. I mean, how big-headed is that? But I didn't have much to think about, because all I had to think about was saving, holding, conserving stamina. When he came over the Melling Road, which is the second part of it, is the Anchor Bridge Road, the old cinders come up under there. You know, they just flinch a bit from that because it's different, you see. And you come round the corner, a couple to jump, and you're long running ahead of you. And as he crossed the Anchor Bridge Road, we were fine and still running, pulling. You know, oh, great. Jumped the second last, and it all disappeared. I know it's old cliches, but like a petrol running out of a car, you know, all of a sudden you're not going anywhere, like a balloon being pricked. And he was a horse that moved really well, and you could see his legs coming out, and all of a sudden they were going sideways.
No warning. Just went.
Boom. So he was paddling, you know, he's paddling water now like a duck. And he'd got half-cocked ears, even though he lost the strength and went. You've heard this expression, got to the bottom of the barrel. We were at the bottom of Crisp's barrel. He'd gone.
But just before that, did you think, I've won this race? The race is won?
No, I thought, if he keeps going like this, we win 25 lengths. But there was always that doubt. He was a 2-mile chaser over a 4.5 mile course, you know. So once the petrol went, I could hear Red Rum, but very distantly, because he was some way back in second place. And then we're slowing. Jump the last, okay. There's that long right-handed drift over to the core and elbow. And by then he was starting to stagger, and I stupidly thought, I've got to wake him up. And I picked my stick up in my right hand to wake him up. And I'm not a stick merchant, but I thought I've got to give him a couple of sharp ones. But what it did, I want to go right-handed, I've got my stick in my right hand. Basic boy error. Had I sat still, it would have been better, and not woken him up, kept him balanced. Because as I picked my stick up, it wasn't the smack that made him go that way, the fact that I'd let go of his head, because I was just hanging onto his head. The moment you've let go, he fell away. Fell away. I could see it so clearly. And then I've had to drag him back onto an equilibrium, onto a track, and I think that I lost, I don't know, I think I lost 2, if not 3 lengths. I get to the elbow and start riding for all my life, but he is drunk on his feet, and I can hear Red Rum coming. High blower, and only a few horses do this, when he exhaled, his nostrils flapped, so it would be. They don't all do that. The other thing, the ground was firm, so I could hear his feet. Drum, drum. Horrible feeling, Joe. You're going up and down on the spot.
Dying for the post to come.
Yeah. And it's 494 yards long. God, blimey. And poor old Chris, even though he was bottomed, when Red Rum came, and Fletcher was clever here, he didn't come and challenge me close to, he came wide. Because had he come close to, it would spur Chris on, you see. But even so, as he felt Red Rum coming, he picked up, that's his intuition to go more. But he was so at the bottom of the barrel that he could not find any more. 2 strides from the line, I saw way out there, Fletcher's head, Red Rum. It's all over.
Can you remember the immediate feeling?
Yep, I'd gone from possible elation to absolute desolation. But by the time we'd come off the course, I was as high as a kite.
Yeah.
I had had the ride that money cannot buy. The richest man in the world would not have got the ride on Crisp in the National. I had earned that as a result of being Fred Winter's first jockey and riding winners on the horse. You couldn't buy it.
And were you able to actually enjoy that feeling on the way around, or was it?
Yeah, yeah. On the way round, I thought you don't get horses to jump Aintree like he did. It's a rarity. It's a thrill. It's something, that you just can't buy. I keep repeating that, but you can't do it. You have to earn it. No, it was great. So I was back on top when we came in. Everyone else was sick as a parrot and had lost. I was the only winner because I'd had a great ride.
You leave the course, you travel back. Did you come back south with Fred Winter?
No. I came back with my then wife Jenny, who was devastated, wouldn't talk, crying all the way, which made it even better when she won a national as a trainer or two, because I could see what it meant to her. I'm elated. I've had the ride of my life. But just to go back a step, Fletcher said he thought he was always going to catch me, and he did. Fred Winter put his arm around me and said, "Well done, son. I knew you were beat when you jumped the second last." He said that to the owner. But we've had a great run. And in the press conference afterwards, God, I must have come across as a cocky little so-and-so. A lot of them were centering on me because of the horse and the great horse, great race. And I said, I felt sorry for Ginger and Red Rum and Mr. Lemaire. He's 92. There's plenty more time for us, So I thought, I'll let him win. Well, what a cocky thing to say. I mean, how stupid. But I was elated from the ride I'd had. Yeah. And it all happened here behind us.
And you mentioned earlier, it really was a 2 mile. He won the 2 mile champion chase. Whose idea was it to try the National?
Trainers. We had tried the Gold Cup. I think I jumped the last in front in the Gold Cup, finished 5th. But he sulked because we held him up, and that was not his natural way. We settled him in behind. He didn't like it, and he sulked. So Fred said, "Look, we'll try the National." It's almost like 2 races. You see, you go 2 miles, you take a breath, and then go another 2.5 miles, and it nearly worked.
And with all that weight on his back as well.
Yeah, amazing horse. We only raced once more, that's the following season, in a match with Red Rum at Doncaster, level weights. Chris won 10 lengths on the bridle, but got a bit of a tendon injury. And Fred Winter said, "I think so much of this horse, I'll never run him again," and retired him. And he hunted in the Zetland country of Richmond up in North Yorkshire for 8 years, which was great. He had a great time. But I'd love to have gone back there again.
Yeah, especially this year when they've shortened the race by 90 yards.
If only. But Peter O'Sullivan for the Beeb always said, if the Grand National falls on April the 1st, we will do a recommentary on it and bring the winning post back by digital whatever they do, and Chris will win the National.
Up live. Thanks, Richard. Thanks very much.
It's a pleasure. Great memories. I mean, this is marvellous, isn't it?
And before we go, sitting on the bench, which was here in memory of Fred Winter, your old employer.
Yeah, and this bench and the tree planted here in this little piece was put here by donations from the stable staff and John Frank and myself and other people who were close to him. He was a great man. Forget training. Fred Winter was a great man. If there'd been no racing, he would have been a great man.
Happy memories.
Oh, so lucky. He was my hero. To work for your hero, it doesn't happen, does it?
Fantastic. Thanks very much.